Story 1. The coffee shop regular am Sarah, a 28-year-old freelance writer who lives alone in a quiet suburban neighborhood and prides herself on her independence, despite a growing sense of anxiety about the world outside. That anxiety is exactly why I bought the doorbell camera. I wanted that digital barrier between me and whoever was knocking. For the first month, it was just delivery drivers and Girl Scouts. But last Tuesday that changed. My phone buzzed at 2:14 a.m. Motion detected at front door. I was awake, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with a deadline. I grabbed my phone, expecting to see a stray cat or maybe a raccoon. The live feed loaded in grainy black and white night vision. Standing on my porch was a man. He wasn't doing anything aggressive. He was just standing there, perfectly still, facing the door. He wore a worn-out denim jacket. Even in the low light, I noticed a distinct posture. He leaned heavily on his right leg, a compensation for an obvious limp. As he turned his head slightly, the infrared light caught the jagged scar across his chin. My stomach dropped. I knew him. It was the visitor. He was a fixture at the local coffee shop where I worked. He always sat in the corner booth, nursing a black coffee for hours. We had never spoken beyond a polite nod. He seemed harmless. But why was he at my house at 2:00 a.m.? I had never told him my address. He didn't ring the bell. He just stood there for 4 long minutes. Then he slowly reached out a gloved hand and pressed his palm flat against the wood of the door, right where the deadbolt was on the other side. He held it there like he was feeling for warmth and then turned and limped away into the darkness. 2 nights later at 3:03 a.m. he was back. This time I was waiting. The notification chimed and I opened the app. There he was again, the denim jacket, the limp, but this time he was looking directly into the camera lens. His face was inches from the glass. His eyes looked black in the night vision, vacant and unblinking. He knew I was watching. He raised a hand and pointed a finger directly at the camera. Then he leaned close to the microphone and whispered a single word, "Deadline." I almost dropped the phone. I hadn't told anyone about the writing deadline that was keeping me awake. The only place I had mentioned it was in my private journal, which never left my desk. I called 911 immediately, but by the time they arrived, he was gone. The police say no crime has been committed. But every night when the sun goes down, I sit by my phone, waiting for the chime, wondering what else he knows about me. Story 2. The spare key. My name is Mark. 6 months ago, I thought I landed the perfect apartment. It was the second floor of a large Victorian house. The landlord, Mr. Henderson, lived downstairs. He was 70 years old, walked with a cane, and baked me banana bread when I moved in. He seemed like the quintessential sweet old neighbor. He told me he kept a spare key only for emergencies, like a burst pipe. I trusted him. About 3 months in, I started noticing little things. I'm obsessive about order. I leave my toothbrush angled toward the mirror. I found it facing the shower. I stack my mail in order of importance. I found bills shuffled to the bottom. I thought I was sleepwalking, so I bought a cheap, motion-activated nanny cam disguised as a USB charger. I checked the footage on a Friday. The door opened slowly. Mr. Henderson walked in. He didn't look like the sweet old man downstairs. His face was slack, and he didn't even use his cane. He went straight to my hamper. He pulled out the shirt I had worn yesterday and buried his face in it, inhaling deeply. Then he walked over to my bed. He didn't just sit on it. He crawled under the covers, fully clothed, and slept in my bed for 2 hours. When he woke up, he remade the bed perfectly. Before he left, he walked over to my dresser, picked up a framed photo of my girlfriend, stared at it for a minute, and then placed it back down, slightly crooked. I decided to catch him in the act. The next day, I set up the camera to stream to my phone. Around 11:00 a.m., the notification came. I watched live as Mr. Henderson unlocked my door. He walked in, but then he stopped in the middle of the room. He slowly turned his head and looked directly at the USB charger in the wall. He didn't look confused. He looked disappointed. He walked right up to the tiny lens until his eye filled the frame. Then he smiled, a wide, toothless, knowing smile. He reached out and the feed went dead. I moved out that night. I didn't even argue with him when I dropped off the keys. He just stood in his doorway, holding his cane, looking like a harmless old man again. "Such a shame," he said softly as I left. "We were getting to know each other so well. The most terrifying monsters aren't the ones hiding under the bed. They're the ones holding the keys to your front door. Check your cameras. Check your locks, and never assume you truly know anyone."